Hi, and welcome to the Heart of a Perfectionist podcast. I'm your host, Tegan Thompson. I'm a book lover, a chocoholic, and an INTJ living in a world filled with extroverts. I made this podcast to share my experiences and struggles as an introverted perfectionist, and to bring the inner workings of an introvert's mind to introverts and extroverts alike. So grab a cup of tea and get comfortable. It's time to unmute. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Heart of a Perfectionist podcast. Happy New Year, everyone. It's so exciting to be entering 2022 and kind of leaving 2021 behind us. We get to kind of start over, have this fresh new start, so it's really exciting and refreshing. So this week we'll be talking about setting goals for the 2022 year. And I wanted to talk about this because I know right around this time a lot of people are setting New Year's resolutions. However, I really want to focus on the word goals instead of resolution because I think that setting goals is more impactful and more motivating than if you're just setting a resolution. So I'm kind of just going to talk about a few things that you can do to help you be successful in achieving your goals that you set for yourself. So that you can feel really good at the end of 2022 and looking back on the goals you set for yourself and realizing that you achieved a lot of them or maybe even all of them. So first is setting goals for you. So it's really, really important that when you decide to set a goal that you ask yourself, is this goal something you truly want, or is it something someone else or society wants or expects from you? And I think this is really important because if the goal isn't important to you and you're not doing it for yourself, rather you're doing it for someone else or for the ideal that society has put in everyone's mind, you will not be motivated or willing to dedicate time to achieving the goal. And so ultimately you're going to set a goal that you set yourself up to fail at because you're already right off the bat not motivated to do it. So for example, I know I've mentioned this before, I do not like running at all. I do not like running and I have no motivation to do it. It's not something that I would look forward to or want to do. It's not something that I personally want to get better at. And so going into 2022, I'm not going to set a goal for myself by the end of 2022 to maybe run 5 miles straight or something like that. Because realistically, I've set myself up to fail simply by setting that goal because I have no motivation to do it for myself. Rather, if I was interested in running, then I could set that goal. Or something more realistic for me is maybe setting a goal of doing weightlifting 4 days out of the week or something like that, because I really enjoy weightlifting and that would be a more practical goal for me because I already am very interested in it and it's something I want to do for myself, and that I don't care if other people see me do it or see that improvement in me, but it's something I want to do for me. Another thing for when you're setting goals is to make sure the goal you set is SMART. And SMART is an acronym, so it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. You've probably heard of this acronym before, and I think it's really, really helpful because when you set a goal that is specific and measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, you really are setting yourself up for success because it makes it easier to track your progress in the goal. So I'm going to go back to the running example, even though I don't want to run. I don't want to set a goal of saying I want to run because it's not specific and it's not measurable. So maybe I would set a more specific goal and say I want to run 5 miles in I don't even know how long it takes people to run 5 miles. Let's say 25 minutes. And I want to be able to do that by September 1st. Okay? So now I have set a goal that is very specific. I have how many miles I want to run, how long I want to do it within, and it's measurable because I know what the timeline is for it. It's time bound, right? Which makes it attainable and realistic. And so I know that maybe by the end of February, I want to be able to run 2 miles within that amount of time or something like that. I'm not sure. But you're able to track the progress. Another example is with weight loss. You don't want to just say, oh, I want to lose weight in 2022, because that's not specific, that's not measurable. You're not going to be able to attain that because you don't know what you want to achieve. You want to know how much you want to lose, right? You don't want to just say, I want to lose weight. Rather, you want to maybe say, I want to lose 20 pounds by June 1st. That way you know, and you can track the progress you make. Okay, well, it's March 3rd or something, and I'm like halfway there. Am I on track for reaching the goal I have set for myself? So it's really, really important that you make sure that the goal you set is SMART, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. The third thing is to write your goals down. This is so, so, so important. You don't want to just have them in your head. You want to write them down on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard, wherever you want to put them. And then you want to put your goals somewhere visible that you are able to look at them almost every single day. For example, maybe on your bathroom mirror or on your computer screen or something like that. That way you're able to see them every single day. And this makes your goals real and tangible, and it helps you keep motivation to do it. When you are looking at the goals you have set for yourself that you want to do, that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, and you're looking at those every single day, you stay motivated. You say, oh yeah, I want to do that, and I'm going to do that for me, right? And then you keep working towards it. So it's really, really important to write them down and put them somewhere you can look at them every single day. Just to keep that motivation and keep them very real and tangible for you. Another thing is to create an action plan. This is really, really important because, if you just set a goal and you don't know how you're going to work towards achieving that goal, then how are you going to achieve that goal, right? So when you are measuring progress, you want to have steps. So when you are making an action plan, it's important to include your overall goal, what you want to ultimately achieve and by when you want to achieve it, and the different steps that you're going to take to get there. So let's say maybe you want to write a novel, and you have an outline, and your outline sets you up for about 20 chapters, and you want to write it in a year. Well, you have 12 months in a year, so maybe you want to write, I'm not going to do the math off the top of my head, but you want to write a little over 1 chapter a month, probably closer to 1.5 chapters a month. So you set those different levels, those different steps, so that you can continue to track the progress that you are taking to get to your ultimate goal. And having that action plan ultimately gives you mini goals to achieve. And again, keeps things tangible and attainable and keeps you motivated, because when you achieve those little steps and those little goals, then you become even more motivated to work towards the next little goal and the next little goal and then the next little goal, and then ultimately you're going to achieve your overall goal. And then the next thing is to take action. Obviously, you want to take action, right? And I think that's really, really important, because a lot of people think, okay, well, I just need to find the motivation to do it before I do it. But in reality, motivation follows action. So once you take action, that's when motivation comes. Like I just said, you set those mini goals and you start achieving those mini goals, and you're going to grow your motivation to continue to achieve the mini goals you've set for yourself. So you need to take action in order to get the motivation. And it's important to remember that motivation is not a feeling, but a choice. You have to choose to stay motivated. You're not going to feel motivated most of the time. You have to choose to stay motivated and choose to take action. And then lastly is to just reevaluate and assess your progress throughout, right? So if you've set the goal of losing 20 pounds by June 1st, for example, and you're at May 1st and you've only lost 8 pounds, it might be important to kind of reevaluate your progress that you've made and recognize that losing those 12 pounds in 1 month may not be realistic anymore because you've only lost 8 pounds in the past 5 months. And so you may need to kind of assess where you're at and then set a new goal for yourself. It doesn't mean you failed. It just means that maybe your first goal that you set wasn't as realistic as you thought it would be. And that's okay. It's okay to make adjustments and changes to your goals later on. Or, for example, if you're writing your book and you have 20 chapters that you wanted to write, and you realize that halfway through the year you've already written 15 chapters and you have 5 chapters left, then you might want to reevaluate your goal and recognize you don't need a whole year to write it. You may have a shorter time period than you expected and be able to achieve that goal sooner. So it's important to just reevaluate where you are, because you may be a little bit behind, you might be ahead, or you might be right on track, and that's okay no matter where you are. It's important that you're just making the progress, and sometimes you do need to change the goal that you have set for yourself, because sometimes you think that you are able to achieve things faster than you really can, and that's hard to accept at first, but recognizing that you're making any progress in general is very key to maintaining motivation and just continuing to work towards the goal you've set for yourself. Because just because you didn't meet your first deadline for it doesn't mean you can't meet it at all. You should still work towards achieving the goal you set for yourself, because ultimately the purpose is to achieve the goal that you've set for yourself, even if it's not by a deadline, right? The deadline is just to help keep you motivated and to measure where you're at and where your progress is, right? So those are kind of just some things that you can do to help keep you successful in achieving your goals. And I really hope that you're able to apply them and work toward your goals this year for 2022 and be successful at the end of the year. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Heart of a Perfectionist podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, or if you learned anything new, please go share it with a friend. And as always, have a good weekend. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week on the Heart of a Perfectionist podcast.